Every morning, you need to mind hack and murder hack your brand.
Exponential growth is exponential.
Look at your calendar and burn it. What is your personal winning resume?
The number one thing that they don't teach in school is to make money. Entrepreneurs.
Entrepreneur.
Produce.
I am literally a god.
Spartans!
Business.
Money hacks.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Business Money Hacks. I'm Bridge Stewart.
And I'm Dustin Taylor Hahn.
Today, we have a very special episode. Every episode is special, but this one feels extra special. Mm-hmm. We're going to be discussing all sorts of topics, and Dustin and I wanted to sort of get onto this subject of what it means to sort of latch on to something in life and get what most you can out of it.
Take what you can and leave everything else behind. The world is filled with excrement, garbage, trash. People are trash. Most people are trash. Bridge. So you got to just take.
This is true, yeah. And really in life, you only got one life. And it's so important to just
life to live.
One life to live, and to just don't worry how other people react to the things you do. Mm-hmm. If people get sad from the actions you do, just grab on to stuff and take what you can and leave.
You only got one life to live. I mean, these are the days of our lives. I got to tell you, I just got a new place in Dallas. Let me just tell you a story. I went to the Oakland International Airport and I saw a man. I think he was a monk. He was going on and on about the keys to everlasting freedom, and I immediately latched on to him. You know, I've been following him around.
He's just been hanging out in Dallas, huh?
He promised me freedom. It was very vague. I think he's from Azerbaijan. Is that a country? Where is that?
Yeah, I think that's a country, right?
He had a bowl of hookworms, and I thought that was a sign, this man, I should be hooking on to him.
So you're just hanging out with this Buddhist in Dallas who was walking around the streets with a can of worms. Am I correct in your
so
assessment?
Many words, yeah, yes.
Okay.
It was a sign. I said, I got to hook myself onto this one.
Yeah, that's, we all got to do what we all got to do. And sometimes, you meet a man on the street, the can of worms, and you take advantage of that. You latch on and see what you can get out of this man.
Any new business ventures that you've been working on in this vein?
Oh, just being on this subject of latching on, I've really gotten connected with this new startup. It's a food startup. Not sure exactly what they do. They just do something with food. That's sort of the hot thing these days. Mm-hmm. And they kind of brought me on to invigorate the company, and I'll be honest, I'm laying off some of the dead weight. It was time to sort of just trim the fat on that bad boy and sort of, like we said, take it for all it's worth and then leave. And so that's kind of what I'm doing with this company is sort of getting everything I can get out of it and then leaving.
So you sort of joined in a little bit late on this startup. Started laying people off, and then you're just going to be a wisp in the wind.
And then I go
once
my
that
own
fat's
way.
trimmed.
Yeah, it's like that Fleetwood Mac song, you can go your own way. And I always play that song after I fire several of the employees. I like to play them that song. It's like you can go your own way, and you will, because you are fired.
It's interesting. They call it leech farming. When you set up an S-Corp based solely in, conference rooms at best Western hotels, and then you create like a marketing plan in that area. So they all show up on a Sunday afternoon with checkbooks in hand, and then you bring out the vacuum.
Yeah. It was
leech farming.
It was corporate raiders of the 1980s, and now it's leech farmers of the 2020s.
Yeah.
This industry just continues to amaze.
I think it's about time we get to our guest, who's very much into this world, Marlena McBride. She's an author. She has a very interesting book.
Howdy, y'all.
Hey.
I am great. Thank you so much for having me. You know what? That's right. I'm on a few shelves in my hometown, not too far from Dallas. I've got my book at the Christian Lifeway Center. They set it up, but otherwise, I'm trying to go global with this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Go global.
Go big or go home and cry to your mommy. That's what we say here in Benton. So I don't want to go home to cry to my mommy because she died 7 years ago. So ain't got nobody to cry to. So
that would be an
I gotta
interesting, an interesting scenario. I'd like to see just digging up that hole and
Well, no, I wouldn't
Yeah.
actually have to dig her up. We embalmed her 7 years ago. That was really kind of catching on, and we were one of the first. So technically, she is home.
Now, how do they get the brain out with those things?
Oh no! It's still in there. They just kind of pump it full of formaldehyde. So she kind of smells like one of those frogs you dissect in science class when you're in middle school. Yeah, and it's fun. We're all like, "Hi, froggy mama!" Like, we just go up, kids all touch her and poke her and stuff. But
When you say kids poke her, you brought her to a park and now she's there?
oh no, my kids.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
In a world full of loss, I was like, I know she's gone, but why do I got to keep her from my kids? It's like they didn't really get to know her because my kids were so young. I mean, it's no different than having an urn on your fireplace, right? I mean, some people think that's, kind of cuckoo crazy. And I'm like, well, what's the point? I mean, if you're going to do that, again, go big, go home, just have the whole body. So
Yeah, embalming. I know a couple associates that have stuffed their relatives and just sort of placed them around their house. It's kind of like the new mausoleum. And, they're pretty emotional guys, so they do end up crying to their stuffed and embalmed relatives oftentimes.
Well, and life is cyclical, y'all. It's like we're just going back to doing what those Egyptians did 200 years ago.
Mummified.
So it's like things are cyclical. And I think if we look back at older generations, we can see that they really set a precedent for excellence that I think we've kind of weaned ourselves from, but now we're all just circling back.
Oh, yeah. And
Yeah.
we've been talking about parasites. There's some beetles out there that just really suck people dry.
I gotta say, Dustin,
Yeah.
you were talking about latching on, and I
course.
think that's a perfect segue to my book, not to plug, but wow, some on here.
Sure.
First of all, it's marrying for money and not giving a damn what the commies in LA say about it. A single mother's guide to financial freedom in the midst of phallicism. Now, you use the word latch, which I love because it makes me think of the single most important act in this world, breastfeeding, right?
It's great.
Everyone.
Never experienced it in my life. No. My mother kept me in a pantry and she gave me oat milk and whatever she found. So I never seen it, never experienced it.
That breaks my heart. So
Yeah.
we're going to have to fix that.
Well, you are close. You are close to Dallas.
I was going to say, maybe that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
But you can have not physically latched on to a teat to suck the nutrients, but you can emotionally, physically, spiritually latch on to the teat of your life, and it is empowering. The first step, though, is asking yourself, what's the teat in my life? And my answer was powerful men. Boom. Is that not the most 2021 insight you've ever heard? Powerful men is the teat, and I'm going to latch on and suck them dry.
Wow. Well, if men are breasts, then I guess what would be the milk?
I think we all know what the milk is. It's money. And listen, I don't want y'all running off hearing me, saying this, go, oh my God, she's crazy. She's a gold digger. First of all, I never liked gold. Didn't look good on my skin tone. I like silver. Second of all, we all agree that marriage is a contract anyway.
It is. It is a contract.
Right.
I've been through several dozen of them, and they're not, there's no love there.
And let me ask you something. Did you walk away feeling financially free from any of them?
Yes, I have.
Really?
Well, all my wives seem to disappear. Then
what I'm going to say about that, if you were the one walking away financially free, then you didn't marry real smart women. Because I am trying to encourage the women of this generation to be the ones to find financial freedom.
Yeah, it sounds very much like, you enter this relationship and you decide, okay, am I going to suck from the teat? Or am I going to be owned by the teat? Am I going to be drowning in teat? And it sounds like you have very much decided, no, this milk is mine. And I will have as much as I want.
And I think that's pretty fair. And you nailed it on the head, Bridge. And so in my book, I list a step-by-step guide about how to get the most out of your marriage. And that's going to start with 2 words that sends a lot of people running again. It's called joint checking. Most powerful thing you can enter into as a woman.
Yeah. That seems like a beeline for the milk. That seems like milk on tap.
The possibilities are endless when you have joint checking.
The milk is bountiful.
It is bountiful because what it does is basically what it is they have a checking account, and then you are saying we're going to make it a joint. So whatever you have, I'm now putting my name into, so that when you leave, you're protected. You have something to go to. Never sign anything, because they will have you sign things, and then you'll wake up one day and go, I didn't know about the tax evasion. What the hell? And you'll be like, well, you signed everything, and then you're in prison.
You don't want to latch on to the wrong shark or the wrong milk shark.
No, because sometime milk is spoiled.
Oh, yeah.
Sometime it's spoiled. That's why I recommend joint checking.
So have you ever, you met a guy out in Texas, he looks like he's got a big old ranch, and he's got that big Texas smile, and you're saying, oh, man, this guy's teats are huge. I can't wait to grab the milk from this man. And then suddenly you realize, this has been a little bit of a facade he's been running. This man has no milk. His teats are dry.
2 words. Storage unit. Okay? Everyone enters into a joint checking. You have access to the funds. But at the same time, and this is the imperative move in my book, you are building a storage unit, a mental one in your head and a physical one at a storage unit of your escape plan.
So
okay?
in chapter 3, you do have an entire chapter on storage units. Now it says you've been living in a storage unit for the past decade. Why do you choose to live in a storage unit if you're making so much milk, if you're drinking so much of that teat? And also, what is your relationship with your children?
Well, man, you're just asking all sorts of questions, are you, Dustin?
I just want to know more before I meet you.
Well, that is what differentiates the gold diggers from the empowered women. I don't need the big mansion, the big cars, right? I can make it in a storage unit with 3 kids, all under the age of 6, that I had by the time I was 14. So you can do the math on that. But that is the fate of many American women this day and age.
It's true.
We are looking for security and sustainability, right?
And there's nothing more secure than a lockbox or a storage unit.
No. Social security numbers, the locations and routing numbers to other bank, the names of all of his mistresses. You are storing that in your mind, and then in the physical storage unit, paper trails. VHS tapes, okay, of him doing the nasty behind that one club. You got it on him. So if you have to have an escape plan, you're literally living in it, in your mind and in the physical unit.
Well, I mean, it just seems like you're continuing this beautiful tradition, because I remember when I was a kid, my mother and father, they didn't get along a lot. And so my mother would end up living in a storage unit for spans of time, and I would live in the house with father, and every Sunday he would say, all right, we're going to the storage unit to see mom, and we'd drive out a few miles out, and he'd open it up, and there she'd be, just in that storage unit saying, please, it's dark, help. But it sounds like this is a beautiful tradition that you've continued doing.
First of all, I got to ask you a question now, Bridge. Who, looking back, did you respect more, your mother or your father?
Oh, I respected both of them just equally less. If I had to really say it, I probably respected my mom because, just living in a storage unit.
Amen.
You learn a lot living in a storage unit.
There is a thing with storage units. If nobody has claimed the storage unit, they have auctions.
Right.
They open the gate, but whatever's inside, the highest bidder gets it. So there might be the reason why, Bridge, you haven't seen your mother in so long. Somebody bought that storage unit and she's off. She's got a whole new life somewhere
my father
in the world.
did forget to pay a few times, and one time we went and nothing was there, and it's like, oh, well, yeah, somebody got her.
But she could have gotten him had she had joint checking.
That was the mistake she made.
She needed a copy of Marrying for Money, A Single Mother's Guide to Financial Freedom, the Miss Fauci.
Yeah, I think that would have helped her a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, like you said earlier, I wish I could see her, and honestly, wouldn't be too bad to have a good cry in front of mom. I haven't seen her in a long time, and I think it would be a very emotional experience doing that. So your experience living in a storage unit, doing this joint checking, how long does your relationship usually last in the marriage? How long does the marriage usually last?
3.
3 kids, huh?
I abide by the number 3. So I stay in 3s, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years, 3 kids, right?
Yeah.
3.
Gotta have 3.
Comedy comes in 3s. Well, guess what else comes in 3s? Financial freedom, right?
Now, I do want to ask you this, and this has kind of been on my mind.
Yeah.
Where do you find these men? I mean, I know you're in outside of Dallas.
Enterprise.
Enterprise Rentals. You go to rental cars?
You're just hanging out at rental car places. Is what you're doing.
You bet. And I'm going to tell you why, Dustin.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
Am I fine?
Yeah. Are you okay?
Oh, you know. Oh, man.
Tell me about the...
Well, so here's what I'm going to tell you,
Yeah.
okay? I am saying I find all my men, both past and future, enterprise. And I'm going to tell you why right here. Because what I'm looking for is transition. Men that are coming in from one place and wanting to go to the next, right? There's no better metaphor than an enterprise, okay? And the kind of men that you are getting at an enterprise, well, they're coming from somewhere and they got somewhere to be. Now, they might not
and they're
know
away
what's
from
on.
their family.
I'm sorry?
No, I'm saying that they're away from their families when they're traveling. So that makes sense that you're...
If men are going to take advantage of the vulnerable women, then why can't I take advantage of the vulnerable man? And what is more vulnerable than a man that is about to get into a rental car at an enterprise? And then I come in and I become his destination.
Yeah, this man just has multiple teats where he's got family members just sucking from them. His wife, his kids, please, please, more milk, father, please. And then you come in and just rip the kids off of these teats and say, my milk. And I'm going to create my 3 children, and they're going to have the milk instead.
But I am younger, smarter,
That's
so therefore more appealing.
better.
I am just take advantage of a market system. It is no different than Wall Street, what is happening right now. What's happening with these cryptocurrencies? It is me seeing a market, seeing a loophole, jumping in and making the market crash, blow their minds. What is this chick doing?
Sure. I mean, I would never judge someone who embalms their mother and leaves them in their living room.
I see, yeah.
You're on the topic of cryptocurrencies. Have you considered going into the digital space with this?
Instead of just wandering around enterprise rental cars.
Well, I'll tell you what's been really interesting me lately, because I've been reading a lot about those NFTs. It's like that digital art currency.
Oh, yeah.
I'm moving and loving the idea that I don't even have to enter into a marriage. I can just enter into a half nudie pick-a-me, put it online, and I'm sucking a teat. It's a crypto teat. It is a tech teat, but still teat.
So you're talking about sending erotic photos of yourself out of your storage unit to men in their rental cars who are just trying to rent a car. That's the book. Is that what you're doing?
I am sending.
I mean, it's very empowering. Women empowerment.
I was going to say, Dustin, I am sending empowered portraits.
Yeah.
Empowered portraits, right? The beauty of online, the beauty of the interweb is that it transcends enterprise. Because now I can target men that are in transition at their homes, at the Home Depot, at the pet store, on the golf course. It is men of all shapes.
I don't think you're allowed on the course. It sounds like they wouldn't let you on the course. Pet stores for sure. And,
my picture.
Animal
But it's
shelters.
my-
animal shelter. Yeah.
But the beauty of the NFT, Dustin, is that my pictures can find themselves on the course. My pictures can find themselves at the pet store. Because what they do is they log into their little NFT profile. They see my picture and they want to bid on it. I can, from the beauty of my storage unit, send these empowered portraits to men of all shapes, certain kind of size, everywhere. and I reap the benefits.
I think that's a beautiful vision of the future of America. You just driving along, you go into a McDonald's, you go into any sort of restaurant or something, and then there's just women screaming at you to buy their NFT of them in a storage unit. I think that's an empowering message for women of America.
Now, do you have daughters or boys?
I have 2 daughters and a boy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have them suck on? What are they sucking?
Well,
what are they sucking? Are they sucking on your teat, or are they sucking directly onto these men?
I got a 5-year-old boy, 2 9-year-old girls, and so they're obviously still physically sucking on my teats.
Oh yeah.
So talk about transition. When will they be transitioning to these men?
Oh no. I still got to feed them. They're grown babies, right? So it's like you can't just not be breastfeeding a 9-year-old.
Gotta give them the milk.
Yeah, you got it. So that's still going on. But no, I had them transitioning young into seeing, and it was great. It was like, they're little infants, and I'm going, look at what the teat is offering you now. Take this metaphor and apply it to your own life. And this is, legit. These aren't just kids that are stealing, right? It's like they have planned ideas of how to take lunch money from their fellow kids. They are coming up with actual business plans, lemonade stands.
Raising a couple of milk-filled bullies.
Well, and I never liked the word bully. Okay, I think it is
I like the word.
Business oriented.
I love it.
But it's like I start simple. You love it.
Yeah. I always sort of fashioned myself a bully as a kid, and I don't know. It just felt like a cool thing to be.
Well, let me tell you something. I would love for you to have a one-on-one with my son, Michaela, because man, he would business orient your bully like you never know.
Really? I think it's about time I start taking advice from 5-year-olds.
Well, I'm telling you, this one will blow your mind. He really will. Michaela, he's probably my fiercest one, right? Okay, so I started him young, but he had his 2 older sisters to look up to. And he really respects women. I really instilled that in an early age. Because whatever he makes, he actually gives to us.
Oh, so
right?
You've got a little artful dodger in your crew. I like that. You're living in a storage unit and just kind of scrapping and scraping away, sharing what little finds you could find in other storage units around abandoned animal shelters.
And what it does is it keeps him fully dependent on women, because he is going out and he is getting his earnings, but then he's giving it straight to me and his 2 sisters. It is the men fully dependent on the women. Fully dependent. He literally cannot do anything without us. I haven't even taught him how to eat without sucking on my teeth. I haven't even taught him how to read. He cannot even talk.
Illiterate boy.
That's fantastic. Being illiterate. Now that I like.
Illiteracy in the male population is the key to success.
It's on the upswing.
I promise you. You would be amazed at how many mothers I talk to, and they are adopting this because they see the relevance. Illiteracy in the male population is integral to the growth.
Sounds like you got yourself a new book title. Illiteracy for Boys.
Hey,
yeah.
you know what? I've been working on some, and I'm cooking up something fun with this.
Yeah, there's just too many brainiacs these days. We need people to get dumb, is what I've always said. Just stop reading and start doing.
I like the sound of that.
Start getting milk and stop reading literature.
I couldn't agree with you more, Bridge.
I think we just, as a society, need to not read.
The males need to not read, because I think for so long the females didn't know how to read. I think it was in 2008 they finally made it legal for women to read.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
remember
A lot
that.
of people don't know that, though. A lot of people think it was earlier, but I know it was 2008. Finally, women were legally allowed to read.
Yeah, I read an article about that. But I guess I shouldn't be reading anymore.
See how problematic that is?
I suppose with these contracts as well. I mean, these marriage prenups, you could end up writing these contracts out and putting in whatever they want.
You can't read credit card statement, CCS, the 3 most dangerous letters to a female, because that is a man's ammo. All he has to do is wave that in front of your face, and you're caught red-handed.
Bridge, is reading numbers?
Yeah, I mean...
Or is numbers reading?
Numbers... I don't know what you're asking. Are you asking me if numbers is reading?
If you consider a credit card
if
statement,
you can't even read numbers, that's a huge advantage. Like, just not even being able to understand basic symbols. I mean...
If we can implement this across the school board system and get early at an early age, then it won't feel like a loss. And I mean, welcome to the world of a woman, right? I didn't even know what losses I had until I was awakened to them in my older age. But when you're younger and you don't have your own bed, at night, it's like, well, that's not a loss. That's just normal. And you have to share with your Uncle Hector. It's like, that's not a loss. That's just normal.
It's very
right?
normal.
When
Yeah.
you have one set of underwear, that's not a loss. That's just normal. So there's so many norms that I grew up with. I thought an empty box of cereal was normal, you know? So I didn't have breakfast for the first 14 years of my life.
And then you had a kid.
And then I had a kid that same year. And I'll tell you the difference. I spent the night at my friend's house, and she had Lucky Charms, and she also had a brother that was older. So put those two together.
And so you kind of did the whole thing where it was like the family would gather around and, you know, breakfast time, and it was more like Hook, where it was kind of like imaginary breakfast. People would pour it into the bowls and pretend. And that's how you thought life was.
I mean, you couldn't have hit the nail harder into the plaster wall. I don't think what my parents knew at the time, but they were giving me the most powerful thing that a woman could ever have.
Invisible milk.
The metaphor.
Oh.
Invisible milk. Because what I saw when you have invisible milk, it then becomes limitless milk. Because physical milk runs out, but limitless milk can only exist in the imagination. So when I saw that milk could be limitless, everything became a teat. Everything.
Oh, wow.
Teachers became a teat, right? My friends became a teat.
A world of teats.
It was a world of teats that I could latch onto. And what is it? Is it Lamentations 4:3, right? Even the jackal offers the breast. Even the jackals became the teat. Everything was a teat.
And jackal milk,
Everything.
you get a lot of stamina out of jackal milk.
And much more sustainable than oat. I know that's what you said you were raised on, Dustin.
I don't really remember. It was whatever was in there.
You ever had Panda Milk?
No, but you know what? I've been reading a lot about that because I know they're really looking into
It's
that.
very expensive.
Yeah.
It's very expensive because you get about a gallon of milk from the panda and then you have to kill it because it basically just drains the panda. So it's it's like $1 million for a gallon. It is pricey, but it's worth it. The thing is it's extra sweet. So it's worth
I
it.
love that you brought that up because I did see a desire for that in the market. So I actually started incorporating that into my photos that I do for the NFT in the storage unit. Sometimes I will dress up in a panda suit just to give them a taste.
This I could get into.
I know what you really want is Panda Milk. Well, I got milk and then I got a panda suit.
So with you
Right.
in the mix, you've got yourself some Limitless Panda Milk.
Everybody wants it.
And let me tell you something. The men, for lack of a better word, but also the right word, suck it up.
Yeah.
They suck it dry.
Well, one thing,
Right?
Marlena, is you don't want to flood the internet with too much Panda Milk. You'll flood the market, and then it'll be worth less.
And then people will be drowning in Panda Milk, which honestly is kind of a dream for me.
Let me tell you something. It's a dream for a lot of these men online, right? But I think true lucrativity comes in.
Oh, is that your son in the background?
Oh yeah, no.
Do you wear
it's,
Do you wear the panda outfit around? Like
It's
with him?
it's feeding time. You know, I told you he's young. He's 5 years old, so he's still on the teat.
Okay, sorry. What were you saying?
So no, I know, honey. I know, Mommy's doing a thing right now. Listen, no, I know. You just, hun, Mommy's doing a thing right now. Okay, all right. Okay, I'll feed you. Just yeah, I know. I'm always, honey. Okay, you just sit right here. All right, now here we go. Now you just sit. Oh, it's in. Okay, now I know you're happy. Well, no, I was just saying true lucrativity in this environment comes from moderation, right? So it's like not every photo is a Panda Milk photo, right? Not every photo is going to give the men everything that they want, but we give them, no pun intended, a taste.
Yeah, you got to be moderate in these things. You got to sort of have a tempered attitude to these NFTs of you dressed as a panda in a storage unit giving milk to your son. moderation is key.
And I think what it teaches too, especially to the kids, because I always try to find a lesson in there, is delayed gratification.
Ooh, so sort of tempting with a little Panda Milk. Like, hey, yeah, okay, I get that. A little Panda Milk at the end of a hard day instead of just constant stream of Panda Milk.
Because then what kind of kid would I be raising? I think if you can simultaneously, and I'm looking at you, Michaela, I see you looking at me over there. You be quiet now. I think if you can simultaneously raise your son to be illiterate while also having awareness of delayed gratification, I think we can all agree that is the dismantlement of patriarchy.
Bridge, you wrote a book yourself about child rearing in the in the new century, and you've never had children. So, I find that very interesting that you know so much about raising kids, and maybe you could write another one with Marlena. You could do a co-authorship on your next book, Limitless Milk, or whatever you want to call it.
Sign me up, but I'll be writing the contract, not you.
There you go. Well, you're not going to be taking my Panda Milk. I keep my Panda Milk in a safe. In my basement, so I make sure nobody gets at my Panda Milk.
Safes have never been a problem for me before.
I don't know. This is a pretty strong safe. I'm very protective of my Panda Milk. I will die for my Panda Milk.
I promise you, death has not been an obstacle.
I think at this point, Bridge, you might die if you don't get your Panda Milk. You might.
Yeah, I'm sort of been on that IV life lately, where I've just been mainlining it into my veins, because if I did stop, I probably would die.
Sounds like my fourth husband.
Oh, he had a Panda Milk overdose?
No, he had an IV, and if it did stop, he would die, and it did stop, so he did.
Oh, wow. Well, sometimes I feel like this plays into our theme of this episode of latching on, and you really were able to just latch off from him, it felt like. Well, I think...
Yeah, I think I've...
I have learned so much about milk today and teats.
The teat life. I actually feel very, very sick right now.
You don't like milk?
Oh.
I don't think he likes hearing revolutionary ideas, Bridge, is what it is. And he is not the first, Dustin, you're not the first that had a physical reaction to my ideologies, because that is the mark of true radicalism, right? That is the mark of someone having something to say.
All right, well, I think we've learned so much about milk and about Panda Milk and all the different sorts of milks today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you guys for having me. It's been quite a pleasure.
I'm Bridge Stewart.
And I'm Dustin Taylor Hahn. And keep on keeping on.